Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Crit. Apologies if I sound a little different today, I'm getting over a cold, but at long last we've finally gotten the Golden Deer trailer for Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. So let's take a closer look at the remaining students that we'd yet to see. Although it's true that we had already seen Claude, Hilda, and Lorenz, I'll be taking a closer look at these guys too and comparing them to their previous designs. Claude's new design is very solid. It honestly makes his original time skip appearance look pretty boring. He retains his little white jabot, but basically everything else has changed. He gets a rather ornate and intricate new breastplate, almost looking like a wyvern face, which is fitting, two different styled pauldrons, a black coat underneath which really helps to emphasize everything else on top, and he also gets a nice little plated arm guard or gauntlet on his bow arm that archers will sometimes use so as to not hurt themselves when firing arrows. Overall, it just works really well and I quite like it. It reminds me of his Brave Claude design a bit from Fire Emblem Heroes, but perhaps even more fitting to the character. The two different pauldrons really make me feel like the developers were trying to go for his split identities and represent them in his new outfit. Claude hails from Almyra and also leads the Leicester Alliance, leading to a bit of a different taste on each side. Even his hair is a bit more intense and better styled than before. We know that Claude gets the Wyvern Master class exclusively, and his wind-attuned attacks will inflict the shredded status on enemies. When foes are hit after being shredded, a blade of wind will appear, slashing other foes within range. So it's a nice little AoE side effect, traveling from one enemy to another and damaging them. His Muso attack, or special attack here, seems to just be another wind-attuned attack, and we see the enemies getting hit into a pile in typical Warriors fashion. I'm not the hugest fan of Hilda's new hairstyle. There's certainly nothing wrong with it in any sense. I guess I just find it to be a little too low-key for her, and I wish it was a bit more attention-grabbing. I suppose the bun and ponytail combo is kinda cute though. Her outfit is still very reminiscent of her original time skip outfit. However, when you look closely, a lot of the details have actually been altered. A lot of the colors, while keeping to the pink, dark maroon, and red, have indeed been swapped around. I like her pink top a bit better with the cute little red bow. She gets a fun little cape around her shoulders and a long backing to her skirt, and overall it really retains that corseted look, but gets a lot more frills and details this time. We get to see Hilda doing an attack here where she spins around her weapon, in this case her relic weapon Freikugel, but we don't get to see the resulting smash into the enemies. Hilda then does a lightning smash Muso attack, which hits a large swath of enemies and sends them flying. Raphael's got this cool new bandana and doubles down on the grappler aesthetic. I would have liked to have seen a new hairdo on him, since they've been pretty radically altering a lot of the hairstyles, and I think that they could have done a lot more for him, but I think if you were to give anyone the bandana treatment, then Raphael would be the guy for it. The pattern on it and the look of it is kinda reminiscent of Claude's alternate Three Houses hairstyle unlocked via New Game Plus. It looks like Raphael can charge each individual attack, perhaps for more damage or other effects, and then we get the slightest indication here of a little cyclone coming from one of his basic attacks at the end. His Muso attack involves stomping the ground and using a newly created rock piece to smash the enemies, so he may in fact be earth attuned. This one is probably my favorite of the batch. I really liked Lizithia's original time skip design, but honestly this blows that one out of the water. This is easily the most elegant and sophisticated version that we've ever seen of her, and she really seems all grown up now. It's funny because at first glance, it doesn't really seem like they've changed anything all that much with her hair, aside from the removal of her purple headdress, but the straight bangs here just go a really long way for her. I also really enjoy her new gown-styled outfit, with the whiter focused upper half, purple dress and shoes lower half, and the cute sun-looking patterns on the sides. It's just a lot more regal and elegant than her original garb, which in retrospect seems quite childish still. Her Muso attack looks like it begins with light magic that brings enemies closer together to accrue more damage. We then get to see her attacking, as little purple dark magic effects surround her, which may indicate her attacks have the dark magic element, though I will say the actual magic hitting the enemies doesn't really look like it, so this could also be something else, perhaps one of her personal abilities. Hopefully it's not there just to indicate the double drain of both of her crests on her lifespan. Next, she casts an ice spell, and this is interesting because in Three Houses, Lizithia's spell list was entirely made up of dark magic, and she didn't have any reason magic spells at all because of it. So retroactively, they've decided to go back and give her some reason spells too. An aspect of her character here also seems to combine both light and dark magic, as we can see her cast what looks to be a light magic offensive spell, resulting in enemies being spiked, similar to Hubert's spikes, but we'll have to see if it has a similar resulting effect or not later. She also casts 2 magic circles and brings them together, indicating the combination of both light and dark magic. Seeing her cast light magic, reason magic, and dark magic back to back is pretty awesome. However, Lizithia learned 0 combat arts in the original Three Houses game, so they had to give her a little something fun to work with in this game. It'll be interesting to see if they've refined her combat arts list for this game, and if she'll actually get some or not this time around too. We already saw Lawrence's design in the second Three Hopes trailer, so his reveal here isn't too shocking, but I really like what they've done to his hair and armor. It retains a lot of elements from his original timeskip design, like his upper torso area, pauldrons, even down to the little gold leaves on his elbows, but I really like the incorporation of the black section of his chest plate with the golden details. I'm also glad his rose stuck around too. Hairstyle wise, I think this shorter bob look really fits Lawrence, and in some ways I like it even better than his original timeskip hairstyle. It really feels as though Lawrence took his original pre-timeskip haircut and went to an actual salon that was able to fix it. It's also kind of starting to remind me of James from Team Rocket, especially with his little rose moment here. We can see that this rose motif has also made its way into what's likely to be his Muso attack, as the enemies here are encircled by a red attack with rose petals. From the little we're able to tell, it's bringing them into the air and holding them there, maybe for more abuse after. Lawrence then attacks quickly with some swift strikes looking action here, and we can see in this shot that his attack chain seems to lead into a little magic casting in between too, which may be a callback to his usefulness in Three Houses as both a physical and magical oriented unit. Lawrence always made a great Dark Knight, so it's cool to see that he's retaining a little bit of that on some level. He ends this spree with a wind vortex, which could indicate that he's wind attuned. Then we get to see some more attacks where he spins his weapon and juggles enemies in the air, sending them flying. Ignatz looks considerably different this time around. To be completely honest, I've always disliked Ignatz's look, as I felt it was easily one of the least interesting designs in Three Houses in my eyes, but I did appreciate how cleaned up he got with his original timeskip appearance. And also, let's be clear, there's nothing wrong if you enjoy his original vibe. It just didn't mesh too well with me. In this game though, along with the messier hairstyle, it seems that they've opted to actually make him into more of a knight, balancing both his artistic side as well as his original knightly aspirations, which is really cool to see. The barrette in his hair is kind of weird, and his portrait art in general though makes him seem a lot more girl-like than I think it should, but the in-game model looks considerably better. His first attack involves him sliding horizontally and hitting enemies with arrows coated in paint. They erupt paint splatters, which is a really cool effect. We can then see his special attack, in which he charges an arrow and multiple different paint colors converge on it before shooting to multiple enemies. It'll be interesting to see if there are any paint-related enemy statuses, like getting them paint splattered, slowing them down or something. Wow, Marianne's finally let her hair down. It's a little different than I expected, yet still quite fitting. Her gown is definitely very reminiscent of her original timeskip one, though this time it's really been taken the extra mile and is considerably more refined. I love her little collar and brooch, and the patterned headband is pretty interesting too. Her first attack is light magic based, which isn't a big shocker, and it involves casting in the sky and raining attacks down on enemies, but then is followed up with ice magic, super perfect considering she was one of the few ice users in Three Houses. There's a lot going on here. Okay, first, it looks like she stunned a group of enemies behind her, so that's going to be part of her character. There's also a residual water drop effect occurring here around her too, which may have also resulted in that freezing or stunning of them. In fact, it looks quite likely here when we look closely at these final few frames. In the meanwhile, she's running around and attacking other enemies with her light magic based attacks. Her special attack also seems to summon her classic companion and horse Dorte, which I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about, and it then results in a huge Fimbulvetter-like ice explosion. Look, there was a lot of funny fan speculation about Leona ending up with Geralt's haircut, which looked surprisingly more acceptable than I ever thought it would, but it actually seems like Leona has opted to take more inspiration from male Byleth this time around. Perhaps she's trying to replace him in Geralt's eyes. That would make a lot of sense. In all seriousness though, it kinda works for her. It's the first clean haircut she's ever gotten. Her outfit is considerably simpler this time around, though she does retain the shield that she carried in her original timeskip design, but now she has a lot of pouches on her, which is new, and I guess it works with her crafty and prepared hunter-esque vibe. When she attacks here, we can see extra little slashes appearing and hitting enemies, so this may also have to do with those pouches. At first, I thought she was throwing knives or making the enemies lose their equipment, but I think this is just part of the specific area of the battlefield that they're fighting in. There's a distinct shattering sound to her attacks here though, so clearly something is going on with that.
I'll use every everything the captain taught me and come out on top.
Perhaps it's one of her unique character effects or status ailments. Maybe this time around she's more of a weapons expert styled character. Her special involves her racing around, grouping the enemies in the center of the screen, and then sending them flying with an earth attack. And unfortunately, that's it for this trailer, but I really hope that they went the extra mile with this game, as with each trailer I'm growing more and more excited, and I really hope that it can live up to the hype. What do you think about these new Golden Deer designs? Whose is your favorite? And overall, what house won the Glow Up contest? Let me know in the comments below. Shout out to the channel patrons for making content like this possible, and you can also now become a channel member down below for some exclusive emotes. In the near future, I'll also absolutely be streaming this game when it's finally out, so be sure to stick around for that as well. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out my thoughts and breakdown on the Blue Lions and Black Eagles trailers, or my other videos breaking down everything that we know so far about this game. And make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss my future content on it either. And I'll see you all next time.
But I'm gonna have to see if this one grows on me or not. Interestingly enough, he's also got a Harry Potter-esque forehead scar, so I'm wondering if somehow that's going to factor into the game's story, his supports, or if that's just an interesting aesthetic choice since he's a little reckless.
You're a wizard, Caspar.
Either that, or he's taking you to Flavortown.